I was watching this very significant, I would say, documentary on Netflix. It's called Who Shot Sheriff. This was explaining the attempt and assassination on our dear beloved brother, Bob Marley and everything. It's about 57 minute documentary. I highly recommend for any African, okay, that's in the United States or whatever it may be across the globe to tap in and to watch that. Because this is the side of Bob Marley that we do not hear of, nor do we actually see within the media, because the media only just portray Bob Marley as the image of bringing forth or popularizing the philosophy of Rastafari, and he's a Jamaican artist, etc. But this documentary, man, it truly broadens your perspective on overall how Bob Marley bridged two pieces of the bridge together. Possibly that's what his motive was in the time period. When it comes down to 1976, December 3rd, Bob Marley um, almost died in his house. Okay, it was from many people had conspiracies or many people had theories upon his attempt assassination, whether it be from the opposing group at the time period. It was one political party, PNP, underneath the prime minister name at the time period, Michael Manley, and it was another opposing political party underneath the prime minister also named Siaga. So you have both prime ministers, and you had two political parties underneath. So Bob Marley, he actually was creating songs and actually providing people to actually support for Michael Manley and Siaga to be both in the same category with each other, so Michael Manley can actually have more power over that opposing group at the time period. So the FLP, I would say, definitely has something to do with it. Uh, when Bob, he was, in his house, and shots just started, firing. They came through the entrance, came through the front door, then boom, 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 boom. So I definitely would say is from the opposing group, the FLP, which was underneath Siaga at the time period back in, 76. And another thing what Bob did, what I find extremely brave and courageous, is that he had the world peace concert of actually bringing peace and unification possibly between two political parties, you know, from the PNP and the FLP, you know, and it was about like 78,000 or 80,000 people that attended that concert, and Bob, he came on stage around 2 a.m. after, the FLP, they were singing a few songs, and then it was other members of the PNP actually went on stage with them and everything, really showing unification and love, etc. So Bob went on there at 2 a.m. Bob was singing this song, and he was twirling his hair. He was really in the spirit, you could say. People say that they never seen Bob dance like that before. But yeah, Bob, he brought up Michael Manley, he brought up Siaga, he had them, pound the fists together, also shake hands, and really showing that two opposing groups or two groups with different ideologies or philosophies overall, and just the territory of Jamaica or whatever it may be, they actually could come together and set their egos aside. So even though that that thing occurred, excuse me, it still wasn't no peace and everything. After that, that concert and everything, Bob actually went to the United Kingdom. And Bob, just was really focusing on music and everything, because that was always his motto. What can I actually do for people to actually listen and gravitate to my music, you can say. So Bob, Bob was actually working on music, and one of his friends he grew up with, I forgot his name, and he grew up with him, since around the age of 17 and everything, because he from Trenchtown, Kingston, Jamaica. That's very a rough neighborhood, I would say. You know, and he was like, "Man, come to Jamaica, come back to Jamaica. We need you," because Bob was really like the light, of Jamaica at the time period, entrenched in Kingston, Jamaica. So he said, "Okay, cool, move back." Boom. He came back to Jamaica and everything. Man, I'm talking about it was like numerous amount of people of Jamaica, or Jamaicans, root for him. They just are so very proud, so very ecstatic, so very elated that he made his return back, because man, he was like yearning of actually coming back, but he knew, man, he was like, nah, they're gonna kill me, you know. And Bob, he came back and everything, and Bob realized that a few years fast forward and everything, things actually got not better, really. Even though hearing from his friend that quote unquote things gonna get better, they really didn't get better. Because it was later on, um, those weapons that was actually getting introduced to Jamaica, those was later formulated into actually political parties or gangs, you can say. And fast forward to 81, this is when Bob died from quote unquote cancer. Um, Toe cancer. Many people say that it was the CIA involved. Many people, utilize the Chuck Taylor theory also, or just use the Chuck Taylor article, because many people say that once Bob placed his foot within the Chuck Taylors and everything, he actually received cancer in his big toe, because it was a knife that had the cancer on that particular needle. So once he placed his foot in it, he was like, excuse me, he was like, ouch. You get what I'm saying? Because he was in pain. So many people have that. But what Bob did was actually so important and empowering and impactful and insightful, I would say. And so I definitely recommend all people, all African people, to tap in with that video, man. Excuse me, that documentary. You know, that made me look at Bob different. He was actually having those gems or those jewels in his songs too, like the Redemption song, "Emancipate Yourself from Mental Slavery." You get what I'm saying? And it was so profound. You know, once you actually look back and internalize those words that the dear ancestor, the dear great brother, and what he was providing with his songs, you know, and I just had to play that again. I had to watch it like 2 or 3 times, man. So I actually could get everything from point A to point B, but I still gotta watch it one more time for me to actually have that thing down packed, so it can manifest within my neurological brain. But on that note, and again, if you have a Netflix account, or if you don't have a Netflix account, get someone who has a Netflix account for the users or the individuals who don't have it, and tap in with that documentary, because that documentary will change your perspective on our dear great brother Bob Marley. You know, in the documentary, it's called "Who Shot Sheriff?" Who Shot Sheriff? Okay. But on that note, brothers and sisters, I heart you. I love you. And may you have love, life, peace upon your journey. Thank you.